And I think we're having a problem with the camera. This is going to be a long one. I tried to make it short, and I really tried to make it short, but this one's complicated, but it's super important. Today's topic is the hidden cause of sciatica and how to fix it. Today's Wednesday, so we have a stretch. This is called the Neurodynamic Stretch. But like everything else, our goal is to give you the tools to help you make better healthcare decisions, but also give you tools so you too can get your life back. You do not have to live in pain, and our goal is to free pain from the planet, at least back pain and sciatica, because we can fix that. So if you're struggling, this is for you. This is the hidden cause, and this is one that we've never talked about before because it's kind of the end of care for us. We get patients that are really sort of have a lot of problems deep inside their back. We've talked about that, bulging disc, herniated disc, stenosis. But after those slowly start to get better, there's a point where you have to do the stretch, the neurodynamic stretch. And I'm going to explain that to you. And this one's a little bit deeper than most. I mean, some are deep, but this one's, I think, the deepest. So we have a 12-step process. We fix the disc. We exercise, strengthen, stabilize, give you tips. But today's about the corrective functional movement pattern in exercises. And again, I think if you watch all our videos, you will have enough understanding to start to solve these problems on your own, but we don't encourage you to do that. Matter of fact, this is not a treatment. I'm not offering you a treatment. I'm offering you services. If you want to come visit us, we can treat you. But if you have not seen a doctor, you need to be aware of what your problem is. You don't want to have a problem that goes undiagnosed, so you need to get a diagnosis. Okay? This is not a diagnosis, nor is this a treatment, but I think everybody understands that. Typical spine, and this is important. I know we've done the anatomy before, but this is important because it's the part of the spine that aggravates the nerve root that we're trying to fix today. Typical spine looks like this, 24 vertebrae between the head and the hips. Between each vertebrae, there's a disc. So the vertebrae are the bones. In between each vertebrae, there's a disc. And 24 between the head and the hips. In between each vertebrae, there is a nerve that exits directly off of the spinal cord. And those nerves are inside of a sleeve. And the sleeve is what we're addressing today, or the relationship of the nerve and the sleeve. Typically, sciatica is a pinching of the nerve that exits through the foramen off of the spinal cord. So it's in this area that nerves get pinched that cause sciatica. Herniated disc is probably the most common one. We've talked about how we treat the herniated disc. This is all about the evolution of back pain. Back pain treatment is evolving, and we're sort of pushing it forward. We have the ability to solve problems deeper within the spine. But typical spine, nerves that exit go down the legs. This is the sciatic nerve. What are the reasons? Bulging disc, herniated disc, degenerative disc, stenosis, spondylolisthesis. Those are the 5 main reasons. And all those reasons ultimately will pinch the nerve. The nerve, as it's exiting the spine, will be pinched. And when the nerve is pinched, it'll start to aggravate the nerve. And a couple things will happen. You'll decrease blood flowing through the nerve, which is a problem. You'll increase inflammation in and around the nerve. So you'll get some inflammation in the area where the nerve exits. You get some inflammation around the nerve, and you also get a little compression of the nerve. And then you'll build up little adhesions inside the nerve. So it's the compression or the pinching of the nerve that then leaves sort of a secondary problem. And the secondary problem is a buildup of fluid inside the nerve, and it's connective tissue sort of compressing a little bit. They call it adhesions, and or an inflammatory process in and around the nerve that prevents the nerve from being able to do what it needs to do. So Our goal is to fix these problems. We free up the space where the nerve is, and after we free up the space, what happens is we have to address the nerve itself, which is what we're talking about today. It's the neurodynamic stress. It's also known as flossing. It's also known as gliding. Okay, we need to get the nerve functioning better. Nerves move. And as nerves move, if they're not moving the way they should, you get a little compression of the nerve, or you get dysfunction in the nerve. Somebody sent me a message the other day in one of our YouTube channels, and they said, what are the symptoms? What am I experiencing? Why is this happening? And it happens a lot with our patients. With our patients, after we free up the space where the nerve is being pinched, we then address the nerve. You may have some sort of residual nerve irritation, like numbness or a slight aggravation or pain that then goes down the leg. So what we have to do is really address again, I told you this is going to be a long one, right? We have to address the issues of the nerve. So all the nerves come off of the spinal cord and they go out to the edge of the body. So there's flossing or gliding or neurodynamic for the neck, but today we're talking about the low back. The nerves in the low back go down the legs. So we're trying to address those nerves in the low back as they come out of the spine. Part of the stretch we're going to show you stretches the hamstring, stretches the calf, but ultimately what we're trying to do is get motion to the nerve. It's gliding. We want to get it to move. Nerves move inside the body. They're designed to slide. There's an outer sheath, okay? This is your spinal cord, and these are the nerves that exit, and there's a sheath around it, okay? And the nerves should be able to move in that sheath a little bit. But what happens is sometimes you get adhesions, and it doesn't move the way it should. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you a stretch that allows for the nerves to move, okay? It's a neurodynamic stretch. And the way we do it is we have you put a little bit of tension on there, and then we're going to start with having you move your foot. But then it can compress to where you're moving your neck or moving your neck and your leg at the same time. There's different ways to floss it. We're going to give you number one because this is where you have to start. We're not going to give you the advanced ones, and maybe what we can do is next week is we can do more advanced neurodynamic stretches. You have to remind me to do that. So we'll do that. Again, we want to get the nerves to move. Okay, and the way we do that is we have you do a stretch. Here's Dr. Amy. She's our physical therapist. Okay, so here's what she's doing. She's laying on her back, and then she's going to straighten her leg, and then she's going to put a belt or a rope over her foot. Now in her case, it's a belt, and what we're going to do is we're just going to move the foot a little bit. Okay, so be aware. I'll draw it here. Okay, wait till she gets up. So she's extending her leg. So you want your leg. If you have a herniated disc and you do this, it's not a good idea. Okay, so you really need to wait till you get as the nerve starts to get freed up from the herniated disc. Because if you do it with a herniated disc, you're probably going to aggravate the nerve. Okay, because you're stressing the nerve over the disc. So again, this is not beginning phase, this is end phase. So there's probably 50% of the people right now that have sciatica that can do this, and there's 50% of the people right now that shouldn't be doing this. Okay, so as she has her leg straight, so really the sciatic nerve starts here and comes all the way down into her spine here. So as she lifts up her leg and she has it straight up in the air, and if you can't get it straight up in the air, it's probably not that uncommon, but she's going to get it relatively straight. Okay, so now what is she doing? She's stretching the nerve, and then what she's going to do, she's going to raise her foot up and down, and what that does is allow for a sliding of the nerve. This is phase one. This is phase one of the neurodynamic stretch. Again, we're trying to get the nerve. It's like floss. It's like flossing your teeth. Okay, we're trying to floss that motion. We're trying to restore motion of the nerve. We're not really elongating it, we're just getting it to move. And if there are adhesions in there, this will start to break up the adhesions, but it'll also get the blood to flow in and around the nerve. So what happens is the nerve starts to get better. You start to feel better. Again, this is probably the most complicated thing we've talked about yet, because it really involves the motion inside the nerve and the blood flow. So it's the neurodynamic stretch. This is phase 1. Okay, again, the foot's going up and down, and what that's doing is it's allowing that nerve to slide up and down. It's not moving inches, it's just moving a little bit, but it sort of gets some of the adhesions out there. So as you do this, you start to feel a little bit better. You start to wake the nerves up. People say, I feel like my legs are more alive. Well, they're more alive because the nerves are starting to function a little bit better. Okay, so that's the beginning phase. But as you go to the next phase, what you want to do is you're going to start to do more gliding, where you can raise your leg up, and as you raise your leg up, you bring your head back. Okay, and then you put your leg down and you put your head down. You raise your leg up and you bring your head back, and that allows for the nervous system from the toe all the way up to the head to sort of move a little bit. Okay, and then more advanced is where you raise your leg up and then you bring your head down. Okay, because that's actually stretching the nerve. But that's advanced. You don't want to start there. And again, you don't want to do this if you don't know what your problem is. You have to get a diagnosis to figure out exactly what the source of the pinching of the nerve is. 99% of the time it's not a problem, but you have to figure out if it is a problem. And if you're stretching the nerve root over the herniated disc, that could be a problem as well. So that's the neurodynamic stretch. I know it was long and complicated, but it's more advanced, and it's important. And you can do it for the upper body too, but today's not about the upper body. Today's about sciatica. So if you have a problem, come see us. I want you to share this information with your friends and family. We have the ability, matter of fact, here's our study. We have the ability to solve sciatica better than anybody, period. Better than anybody. So if you suffer, or you know somebody who's suffering, share this information with them, because we want to help them. Our mission is to help as many people as we can, because back pain treatment has evolved, and people don't understand that there is an evolution. They think that it's what it used to be, and it's not. It's different, because we treat the disc. Share our information, like us on Facebook, also subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and follow us on Twitter. Okay? We're on a mission. We want to save as many people as we can, and we certainly don't want you to have surgery. And one of the main reasons people have surgery is because of sciatica. So you want to avoid the surgery, because surgery is devastating. They decided recently that they're going to change the way people treat their back. They're trying to eliminate people taking the narcotics, because people are overdosing and they're dying. So they've changed the entire protocol of how to treat back pain. What they're saying is you need exercise and treatment before you get any medication, so we can help you. That's it. That's my rant. I think that's my rant. I'm out, and we'll do one tomorrow about an exercise. And I want to do one about the surgery, the fusion too, so you guys can have that. So thank you very much. I'm done. I'm waiting for the cameraman to turn the cameras off.